In the last 30 days, this kids channel that makes animated stories has made between $4,000 and $66,000 from their videos with no faces. Starting a channel like this is actually easier than you might think. That's why in this video, I'll show you exactly how to do it. So subscribe to AI Digital Money and let's get started. The first step is to make up the story for your kids' animation. There are two ways you can do this. The first way is to use ChatGPT to help you. Once you're on ChatGPT, you want to give it this prompt. Write me a short kids animation, and then explain what your story is about. You can give a short explanation or a really detailed one. It's up to you. Then add the characters and say what kind of characters you want in your story. Since this is for kids, the characters are usually humans, animals, furniture, or other objects that don't move on their own. So fill in this prompt. Here's what I wrote. Write me a short kids animation about making friends by being nice to people. The characters should be farm animals. If you want a certain number of characters, just put that number in there. The last thing I like to add is, that takes place in one scene or background. I add this because if you don't, ChatGPT might give you a story that happens in multiple backgrounds, and you'd have to make each one. So to make it simpler, I recommend adding that part to the prompt. Once you type in your prompt, just click Enter. As you can see, ChatGPT has created a nice short story for you to use for your animation. The second way to get your kids' animation story is by going to Notepad or Google Docs and writing your own story from scratch. Do this if you want to use all your own ideas and creativity to make up the whole story yourself. Whichever way you choose, using ChatGPT's story or writing your own, once you have the story ready, it's time for the next step. The next step is to create voice recordings for your characters. To do this, you'll want to use a website called 11 Labs. You can find the link to 11 Labs in the description of this video. But before you can make the voice recordings, you need to know exactly which characters are in your story. Go back to ChatGPT and review your story to see the different characters you have. In my story, I have the narrator, Clucky the chicken, and Daisy the cow. Write down a list of your characters so you know which ones you need to make voices for. Now that you have your character list, go back to the 11 Labs website and make sure you're in the speech synthesis section. Next, go to the settings area and click the little down arrow. You'll see lots of different computer voices here. Listen to each one and decide which voice sounds best for each of your story characters. Now, as you can see, I've picked 3 different computer voices, Dorothy, Gigi, and Mimi, for the different characters in my story. Let's listen to what each one sounds like. Here's Dorothy.
Love cures people, both the ones who give it and the ones who receive
She
it.
sounds good for the narrator in my kid's story, and you can see she's marked for children's stories. Now let's hear Mimi, who will be the cow.
In my younger and more vulnerable years, my father gave me some advice.
So that's our cow's voice. And for Clucky the chicken, we have Gigi's voice.
Happiness can exist only in acceptance.
As you can hear, I think these 3 voices fit my kid's animation story perfectly. Once you have the voices picked out, you need to start making the voice recordings, and this part is really simple. The first voice I'll record is Dorothy, who is the narrator. I'm going to go back to ChatGPT, and where it shows the narrator's lines, I'll copy that text. Then I'll go back to 11 Labs and paste that text in there, making sure Dorothy's voice is selected. From there, I just hit Generate, and 11 Labs creates the voice recording for me. Let's listen.
And so, in the heart of the farm, friendship blossomed, reminding everyone that a little kindness goes a long way.
That sounds great. Perfect for a kid's animation. After you make a voice recording and you're happy with how it sounds, you need to download it to your computer. Just hit Download, and it will save the file. Once you have the first recording done, delete that text, go back to ChatGPT, copy the next narrator line, paste it into 11 Labs, and record it again. Download that one too. Then move to the next character. For the chicken Clucky, we picked Gigi's voice earlier. Go back to 11 Labs settings and select Gigi. Then go through your story, find everywhere Clucky speaks, copy those lines, paste them into 11 Labs, hit Generate, and download, just like before. Do this for every character, keeping their voice recordings organized into separate folders on your computer. Once you have all the character voices recorded, it's time for the really fun part, making the animation. And don't worry, this next part is super easy and cool. To make the animation, the main tool we'll use is called Canva. Once you're on Canva's website, type YouTube video into the search bar and hit enter. Then click on the option that says blank YouTube video and it will open up a blank scene. The first thing you need for your animation is the background. Based on our story taking place on a farm, you want to get a farm background image. To do this, click on Elements and search for the word farm. Then click on Graphics and scroll through all the farm picture options. Pick whichever farm background image you like best for your video. You can adjust the size of the picture so it fits perfectly as the background. Once you have your farm background set, you can stop there if you want. But if you want to add more details, you can. For example, if I wanted to add a fence, I would stay in the Elements section, search for Fence, then click Graphics and choose a fence image to put on the farm background. After getting your background ready, it probably looks pretty boring and plain right now. As a kid watching this, you'd want to see some action happening. Don't worry, I'll show you how to animate and liven it up in just 10 seconds. The first step is to download this background image. Click Share, then Download, and it will prompt you to download as an MP4 video file. But instead, make sure to download it as a PNG image file and click Download. Once you have the background image downloaded, you need to go to a site called LayerPix. On LayerPix, click Get Started, which will take you to their editor page. Remember, this site is free to use. Now upload that background PNG image you just downloaded from Canva. The image is already looking better with some subtle motion added compared to the plain still image before. If you like how this animated background looks, you can download it directly by clicking Export, and it will save to your computer. But if you want to adjust the amount of motion, you can play with the settings on the side before downloading. After downloading your new animated background from LayerPix, go back to the Upload section in Canva and upload that file. Now you can compare the boring still background to your animated one. It's that simple and easy to make your animation much more engaging. Now that we have our animated background ready, it's time for the next step. We need to actually create the scenes of our video. To do this, go back to the story you wrote in ChatGPT and read through it again. Then recreate what it describes as images in Canva. The first scene introduces our main characters, Clucky the chicken and Daisy the cow. To make this, go back to Canva and search for images of a chicken and a cow in the Elements section under Graphics. Pick whichever chicken and cow pictures you like best for your animation. This is just the starting point of creating your animated scenes. Now we need to make the characters move and animate. It's actually really simple. First, click on the cow character image. You'll see an animate option appear at the top. Click that. Then click Create an Animation. Animating the cow is as easy as clicking and dragging her around the scene. We'll click and drag her hopping towards the center to get a bit closer to her chicken friend. Once you've moved her how you want, you'll see the animation you created in the sidebar. I recommend clicking the Steady option to smooth out the motion a bit. You can also increase or decrease the speed of the animation. Additionally, you can add different motion effects like rotate, flicker, pulse, or wiggle. I'd suggest adding a tiny wiggle motion by double-clicking wiggle, but lowering the intensity so it's just a gentle wiggle. Then I'll do the exact same thing for the chicken character. Click it, animate, create animation, and move it a bit closer to the cow, adjusting any motion settings I want. Now we've animated our first scene. To create the next scene, just go down to the bottom and click the 3 dots, then duplicate page. This creates a copy of that first scene. But we need to reset the character positions. Click each character and select Delete Path from the animation menu. This clears their previous animation. Referring back to the ChatGPT story, it says a shy stone sheep named Wooly enters next. So go back to Elements, search for a sheep image, and add Wooly to the scene with the chicken and cow. Now animate Wooly's movements the same way we did before. Click him, animate, drag him around, adjust motion settings. Keep following along with the ChatGPT story, adding new characters when mentioned and animating their scenes. Once your scenes are animated, it's time to add the character voiceovers we recorded earlier in 11 Labs. This part is easy. Just go to the upload section, find the character's voice files, and drag-drop them into the timeline where you want them to play during that scene. Let's see how it's looking pretty good. See, it's easy. Click the character, animate their movements, and add their voice line. Do that for the whole story. You get to be totally creative here. Make the scenes happen however you envision, move the characters around, decide when they speak or don't speak. Have fun with it and let your creativity flow. There, I've finished animating all the scenes and adding the voices. But we're not done yet. One last important step will really make this animation video look professional: adding background music. To get some music, go to the website Pixabay. In the search bar, type in whatever you need music for. In my case, I searched for children since it's a kids animation. Make sure you select the music filter option too. Pixabay will show you thousands of song choices. Listen through and pick one you like. Once you find a good song, download it to your computer. Then go back to Canva, upload that music file, and add it to your animation timeline. Make sure to adjust the volume down low, though, so the music doesn't overpower the character voices. And that's it. Your animation video is complete. The last step is to download it. Here's what the final animation looks like. Pretty cool, right? And I made that fairly quickly. Imagine how great it could look with more time and effort. Let me know if you like this animation method in the comments. The more of these you make, the better and easier the process will become. Soon enough, you could have your own thriving animation channel going. Just make sure to stay unique and consistent with putting out new videos. So now you know how to start an animated channel like this one. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more videos about making money online.